The alarm clock screams. Sarah hits snooze, not from laziness, from dread. Another day juggling bills, work, and 2 kids. Her husband lost his job months ago. The factory shut down, replaced by machines, they said. Progress, they called it. Progress doesn't pay the rent. Sarah's part-time cashier job barely covers groceries. The pantry's looking bare. She dreads telling her son Michael no more mac and cheese. He needs his strength. He's growing so fast. The weight of the world sits heavy on Sarah's shoulders. The unpaid bills, the constant worry, the shame she feels having to rely on food banks. The fear in her children's eyes mirrors her own. Will they lose their home? Will they be okay? This isn't just Sarah's story. This is the reality for millions across the country. Families struggling to stay afloat, drowning in a sea of financial hardship. This is their story. The statistics are grim. A recent study found that nearly 40% of Americans would struggle to cover an unexpected $400 expense. Let that sink in. A minor car repair, a trip to the emergency room. Life's little surprises can quickly become insurmountable hurdles. The cost of living continues to rise. Housing, healthcare, education, it all adds up. Wages, however, remain stagnant. The gap between the rich and the poor widens. The American dream, once a beacon of hope, now feels like a distant myth. Millions are trapped in a cycle of debt. Credit card bills, student loans, and payday loans create a suffocating burden. One missed paycheck can send families spiraling into financial ruin. The stress is relentless. The consequences, devastating. This isn't just a personal struggle, it's a societal crisis. Financial hardship impacts every facet of our lives. It affects our health, our relationships, our communities. It erodes our sense of well-being and diminishes our potential. When families struggle, children suffer. They experience food insecurity, housing instability, and emotional distress. They may lack access to quality education and healthcare. The cycle of poverty perpetuates, robbing future generations of opportunity. Financial hardship also exacerbates social inequalities. People of color, women, and single mothers are disproportionately affected. Systemic barriers and discriminatory practices make it harder for them to achieve financial stability. This is a call to action. We can't afford to ignore this crisis any longer. We need to address the root causes of financial hardship and create a more just and equitable society for all. The minimum wage, a hot-button issue. Can anyone truly live on it? Rent, groceries, utilities, these aren't luxuries. They're becoming increasingly out of reach for millions. Imagine working full-time, yet still struggling to put food on the table. This is the reality for countless individuals. They're stuck in low-wage jobs with little opportunity for advancement. The system feels rigged against them. The federal minimum wage has remained stagnant for over a decade. It hasn't kept pace with inflation. They're falling further and further behind. Is this the kind of society we want to live in? It's time for a change. Credit cards, student loans, payday loans, they promise a quick fix. But the reality is insidious. High interest rates and hidden fees trap borrowers in a cycle of debt. Student loan debt has reached crisis levels. Millions are burdened, delaying their dreams. Payday loans target low-income communities with exorbitant rates. It's a debt trap disguised as a lifeline. In many developed countries, healthcare is considered a right. In America, it's often a privilege. The high cost of healthcare is a major contributor to financial hardship, particularly for those with chronic illnesses or unexpected medical emergencies. Imagine this. You're faced with a medical emergency. You need surgery or a lengthy hospital stay, but you're uninsured or underinsured. The bills pile up, quickly becoming insurmountable. You're forced to make impossible choices: your health or your financial security. Even with health insurance, deductibles and copays can be prohibitively expensive. A single illness or accident can derail a family's finances, leading to debt, bankruptcy, and even homelessness. The system is broken. We need to find a way to provide affordable, accessible healthcare for all Americans. No one should have to choose between their health and their financial well-being. It's time for a healthcare system that puts people before profits. Technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate. Automation and artificial intelligence are transforming industries, replacing human workers with machines. While this can lead to increased efficiency and productivity, it also creates economic anxiety and uncertainty for workers who find themselves displaced. Factory workers, truck drivers, cashiers, these are just a few examples of professions at risk of being automated. Many of these jobs are in middle-skill, middle-wage occupations, leaving workers with limited options for retraining or finding comparable employment. The transition to an automated economy presents both challenges and opportunities. We need to invest in education and training programs to prepare workers for the jobs of the future. We need to create safety nets for those who are displaced. The future of work is uncertain, but one thing is clear. We need to adapt, innovate, and find ways to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to thrive in the changing economic landscape. Financial hardship doesn't affect everyone equally. Systemic barriers and discriminatory practices create an uneven playing field, disproportionately impacting marginalized communities. People of color often face higher rates of poverty, unemployment, and underemployment. They may encounter discrimination in housing, education, and lending, limiting their opportunities for advancement. Generational wealth gaps exacerbate these inequalities. Women, particularly single mothers, are also more likely to experience financial hardship. They often face a gender pay gap, limited access to affordable childcare, and societal expectations that prioritize caregiving over career advancement. We need to dismantle systemic barriers and create a more equitable society that provides equal opportunities for all. This includes addressing racial and gender disparities, promoting fair housing and lending practices, and investing in affordable childcare and early childhood education. Imagine living with a constant knot in your stomach, the ever-present fear of losing your home, of not being able to provide for your family. This is the reality for millions struggling with financial hardship. The psychological toll is immense. Chronic stress becomes a way of life. It seeps into every aspect of your being, your thoughts, your emotions, your physical health. Sleepless nights become the norm. Worry becomes a constant companion. It's exhausting. This constant state of stress can lead to a whole host of mental health issues. Anxiety and depression rates are significantly higher among those experiencing financial hardship. The pressure to keep your head above water can feel suffocating. And it's not just mental health that suffers. Financial stress takes a toll on physical health too. Increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes are just some of the potential consequences. When you're constantly worried about money, it's hard to prioritize your well-being. Financial hardship doesn't just impact individuals, it strains relationships too. Constant financial pressure creates tension, resentment, and conflict within families and partnerships. It's a heavy burden to carry together. Arguments become more frequent, often centered around money. Couples struggle to communicate effectively, their conversations laced with blame and frustration. The foundation of their relationship begins to crumble under the weight of financial strain. Parents facing financial hardship often blame themselves, feeling like they've failed to provide for their children. This guilt and shame can be isolating and destructive. They may withdraw emotionally, further straining their relationships with their loved ones. Children, too, are deeply affected by financial instability. They pick up on their parents' stress and anxiety. They may witness arguments, experience food insecurity, or have to move frequently. This can lead to behavioral problems, emotional distress, and difficulty in school. Financial hardship often brings with it a heavy dose of shame. People struggling financially may feel like failures, embarrassed by their situation. This shame can be paralyzing, preventing them from seeking help or connecting with others. Social isolation becomes a vicious cycle. As people withdraw from social events, fearing judgment or pity, they become increasingly isolated. This isolation can exacerbate feelings of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. The stigma surrounding financial hardship prevents open conversations about money. People suffer in silence, afraid to admit they're struggling. This silence only perpetuates the problem, making it harder to find solutions and support. We need to break the stigma surrounding financial hardship. It's time to start talking openly about money. to create a culture of empathy and understanding. No one should suffer in silence. When you're struggling to make ends meet, your health often takes a back seat. Basic necessities like food, shelter, and transportation become the priority. Healthcare, dental care, even essential medications, they all become luxuries that many simply cannot afford. Preventive care goes out the window. Regular checkups, screenings, and dental cleanings are put on hold. This can lead to more serious health problems down the line, as preventable conditions go undiagnosed and untreated. Financial stress also takes a toll on mental health, as we've discussed. But seeking mental health care can be expensive and often carries a stigma. Many people simply go without, their mental health deteriorating alongside their financial situation. The consequences of neglecting your health are significant. Chronic illnesses, untreated mental health conditions, and delayed medical care can have long-term impacts on both physical and mental well-being. It's a vicious cycle, financial hardship leading to poor health, which in turn can exacerbate financial difficulties. Perhaps the most heartbreaking consequence of financial hardship is the impact it has on children. Growing up in poverty casts a long shadow, affecting a child's physical, emotional, and cognitive development. Children living in poverty are more likely to experience food insecurity, housing instability, and inadequate access to healthcare. They may attend under-resourced schools, lack access to quality childcare, and face increased exposure to environmental hazards. These early childhood experiences can have long-lasting effects. Children growing up in poverty are at increased risk for a whole host of negative outcomes, including lower educational attainment, poorer health, and reduced earning potential later in life. We are failing our children if we allow poverty to persist. Investing in early childhood education, providing access to affordable housing and healthcare, and supporting working families are all crucial steps in breaking the cycle of poverty and giving every child the opportunity to thrive. The color of money, race, and financial insecurity. America, land of opportunity, generational wealth, access to education, even the stability of a good job. Race plays a factor. It's not just happenstance. Black and Hispanic households hold a fraction of the wealth of their white counterparts. Decades of discriminatory policies created this gap. It's about systemic barriers. The unequal gender divide, women bearing the brunt. Women earn less than men for comparable work. This disparity widens for women of color. Motherhood adds to the financial burden. Many are forced into part-time work or lower-paying jobs. Single mothers face an uphill battle. They're more likely to live in poverty. Aging out of opportunity. Seniors facing financial hardship. Retirement, golden years. For many seniors, it's anything but. Fixed incomes, rising healthcare costs, and a lifetime of economic disparities can leave older Americans vulnerable to financial hardship. Imagine this. You've worked hard your whole life, but unexpected medical bills, a dwindling retirement fund, or the rising cost of living eat away at your savings. Suddenly, you're faced with impossible choices: food or medicine, heat or healthcare. Older women, particularly widows, are at even greater risk. They often face longer lifespans, higher healthcare costs, and lower lifetime earnings due to the gender pay gap. This perfect storm can leave them struggling to make ends meet. We need to strengthen social safety nets for seniors, ensure access to affordable housing and healthcare, and address the systemic factors that contribute to financial insecurity in old age. Our elders deserve dignity and security, not hardship and worry. Beyond the stereotypes, a nuanced understanding. It's easy to fall into stereotypes when discussing demographic disparities, but it's crucial to remember that within each group, there are countless individual stories, experiences, and challenges. Financial hardship doesn't discriminate based on race, gender, or age alone. It intersects with other factors like education level, disability status, sexual orientation, and geographic location, creating a complex web of disadvantage. A single mom working 2 jobs to make ends meet might be white, black, or Latina. A senior struggling to afford medication might be a retired teacher or a former factory worker. The faces of financial hardship are diverse, reflecting the tapestry of American society. To truly address this issue, we need to move beyond simplistic narratives and embrace a nuanced understanding of the ways in which systemic barriers and individual circumstances intersect to create and perpetuate financial insecurity. A ripple effect from families to the nation. We've talked about the human cost of financial hardship, the stress, the broken relationships, the lost opportunities. But this crisis doesn't exist in a vacuum. It ripples outward, impacting the entire economy. Think of it like a virus. When a significant portion of the population struggles to make ends meet, it weakens the economic immune system of the nation. Consumer spending drops, businesses suffer, the foundation starts to crumble. When families are stretched thin, they cut back on discretionary spending. That means fewer restaurant meals, less clothing bought, vacations put on hold. These might seem like small sacrifices, but multiplied across millions of households, they translate into significant economic losses. Small businesses, the backbone of our economy, are hit particularly hard. They rely on local customers, on the discretionary income that evaporates when financial hardship takes hold. Closures, layoffs, and a sense of uncertainty become the new normal. The healthcare burden, a sick economy. Remember those skipped doctor's appointments, the delayed treatments, the unaffordable medications? This isn't just a personal health crisis, it's an economic one too. When people can't afford preventive care, illnesses worsen. This leads to more expensive emergency room visits, longer hospital stays, and a greater strain on the entire healthcare system. Costs spiral upwards, impacting everyone. Unhealthy workers are less productive workers. They miss work more often, face limitations in their abilities, and may even leave the workforce entirely due to health complications. This loss of productivity translates into billions of dollars lost annually. And then there's the human cost, often overlooked in economic discussions. The stress, the fear, the despair of not being able to afford to be healthy. This takes a toll on individuals, families, and communities, further eroding the social fabric of the nation. Imagine a young person, bright and eager, but forced to drop out of college due to mounting student loan debt. Or a single mother, working 2 jobs, exhausted, unable to pursue the training she needs for a better-paying career. These are just 2 examples of the countless ways in which financial hardship stifles human potential. When people are consumed by the struggle to survive, they have little bandwidth left for education, skill development, or entrepreneurial endeavors. This loss of potential has far-reaching economic implications. A less educated, less skilled workforce is less competitive in the global market. Innovation slows, businesses struggle to find qualified employees, and economic growth is stunted. We need to invest in our people if we want our economy to thrive. Affordable education, accessible job training, and policies that support working families are not just social goods. They are economic imperatives. Financial hardship isn't just a personal struggle. It's a cycle that can trap families for generations. Children growing up in poverty face significant disadvantages, making it less likely for them to break free and achieve economic security as adults. This cycle of poverty has a profound impact on the economy as a whole. It perpetuates income inequality, reduces consumer spending, and increases the need for social safety net programs, placing a strain on government resources. Breaking this cycle requires a multi-pronged approach. Investing in early childhood education, ensuring access to affordable housing and healthcare, and creating pathways for upward economic mobility are all crucial steps. It's time to shift our perspective. Addressing poverty isn't just about charity. It's about investing in the future of our economy. When everyone has the opportunity to succeed, we all benefit. Facing financial hardship? First step, breathe. It's easy to spiral into panic, but that helps nobody. Time to take control, one step at a time. Knowledge is power, even when it comes to your bank account. Start by tracking every dollar. Sounds tedious, but awareness is key. Use apps, notebooks, whatever works. Identify areas to trim the fat. Cable TV, daily lattes, we all have them. Small cuts add up over time. Next, negotiate. Call creditors, service providers, explain your situation. You'd be surprised how many companies are willing to work with you, offering payment plans or temporary hardship programs. Don't underestimate the power of side hustles. Can you tutor, freelance, sell crafts online? Every little bit helps. Remember, this isn't about permanent austerity, it's about taking back control during a tough time. Pride is a tricky thing. It can stop us from seeking help when we need it most. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. You'd be surprised by the support systems available in your community. Food banks aren't just for the homeless. They're for anyone struggling to put food on the table. Don't let shame prevent you from accessing this vital resource. There's no judgment, only a helping hand. Local churches, community centers, and nonprofit organizations often offer assistance with rent, utilities, and other essential needs. A quick Google search or a call to your local United Way can connect you with these resources. Remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of Americans face financial hardship at some point in their lives. Reaching out for help is a sign of resilience, a testament to your determination to provide for yourself and your family. Financial hardship can feel like a dead end, but it can also be an opportunity for growth and reinvention. Investing in your skills and education can open doors to better paying jobs and a more secure future. Community colleges offer affordable training programs in high-demand fields like healthcare, technology, and skilled trades. Many offer financial aid and flexible schedules to accommodate working students. Online learning platforms provide access to a wealth of courses and certifications, often at a fraction of the cost of traditional education. From coding to graphic design to digital marketing, there's a world of opportunity at your fingertips. Don't underestimate the power of networking. Attend industry events, connect with people on LinkedIn, let your network know you're looking for new opportunities. You never know where that next lead might come from. Individual actions are important, but let's be real. We can't solve this crisis with budget spreadsheets and side hustles alone. We need systemic change. That means demanding better policies from our elected officials, raising the minimum wage. It's not a radical idea, it's common sense. People who work full-time deserve a living wage, not poverty wages. Contact your representatives, make your voice heard. Affordable health care is a right, not a privilege. We need to expand access to quality, affordable health care for all Americans. This means exploring options like Medicare for all or expanding Medicaid. Our health and our economy depend on it. Investing in affordable housing, childcare, and education is not just a social responsibility, it's an economic imperative. When families have access to these essentials, they're better able to contribute to the workforce and the economy thrives. Section 5. A shared responsibility, from charity to empowerment. Financial hardship isn't just a problem for the poor to solve. It's a societal issue that requires a collective response. We need to move beyond a mindset of charity towards a framework of empowerment. Support businesses that pay living wages and offer benefits to their employees. Vote with your wallet, choosing companies that prioritize their workers' well-being. Volunteer your time or donate to organizations working to combat poverty and create economic opportunity. Mentorship programs, financial literacy workshops, and job training initiatives can make a real difference. Engage in open and honest conversations about financial hardship. Break the stigma, share your own struggles, and listen with empathy to the experiences of others. Only by working together can we create a more just and equitable society. The faces of resilience, grim statistics, systemic barriers, the crushing weight of financial hardship. But that's not the whole story. We've encountered another force resilience, the single mom working 2 jobs, communities rallying together. These stories remind us the human spirit endures, defined by strength, compassion, hope. From empathy to empowerment. Understanding the problem is the first step, but it's not enough. Financial hardship is everyone's problem, and it demands a collective solution. This isn't about handouts, it's about opportunities. It's about leveling the playing field, dismantling systemic barriers, and creating an economy that works for all. Section 3. Rekindling hope toward a more just and equitable future. The challenges are real, the statistics daunting, but cynicism is not an option. We must hold on to hope, not as a passive wish, but as an active force that compels us to action. Imagine a future where a hard day's work guarantees a decent living, where healthcare is a right, not a privilege, where every child, regardless of their background, has access to quality education and the opportunity to reach their full potential. This future is within reach, but it requires a fundamental shift in our priorities. It requires us to recognize our interconnectedness, to understand that an injury to one is an injury to all. It requires us to embrace a vision of shared prosperity where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Let us move forward with courage, with compassion, with an unwavering commitment to creating a more just and equitable society for all. The journey may be long, the road ahead winding, but together we can overcome the challenges and build a brighter future for generations to come. Rekindling hope toward a more just and equitable future. The challenges are real, but cynicism is not an option. Hope compels us to action. Imagine a future where work guarantees a decent living, where healthcare is a right, where every child has access to quality education. This future requires a shift in priorities. Recognize our interconnectedness. Embrace shared prosperity. Move forward with courage and compassion. Together, we can build a brighter future. So contact us at info@wealthbuildinginvest.com or visit our website, wealthbuildinginvest.com. Please do not forget to like and share our video. Smash that subscribe button to see future videos for more wealth building tips. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.